Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. It's season 11 of APRL, Apex Point Racing League, and we're round 1 at Interlagos for the Foundation Cup. So we've got 14 starters tonight, with some new players who haven't been with us before, so it should be really an interesting night just to see how everyone goes and see how the off-season practice has panned out. So down to turn 1, and we all get through pretty safely here. Turn 2 and into turn 3, where there is a bit of an issue for Zero Assist, or CAS as we know him in the lobby. I'll pick up a couple of spots from that, but there are some fast people behind me who, as always, didn't qualify further up the field, and that's the luck of the draw. So I'm aware that there'll be some people that are pushing pretty hard to get through behind me, one of which is Camcorp in the AMG, and I get a little nudge at the second chicane and unfortunately just don't quite catch it, or drift it back onto the track, which I was avoiding at all costs to not rejoin unsafely, and this drops me down to 12th, but there's 31 laps tonight, so all is not lost, and Cam waits up for me and gives me that place back, which is really nice of him, and it's how we race in particularly in Foundation Cup at APRL. Great Australian league if you're looking for somewhere to race and don't want to get all the hassles of dailies. We have now just reached 100 members, so well done to the admin team and the guys that set this league up. It's fantastic. So Cam, of course, is much quicker than me and gets back into his rightful place. Bob Nads, Mr. Gate, in this beautiful livery, gold and black on the Audi. It's really nice. Really stands up, and I give him plenty of space down here because he's quick too, and no point in fighting at this stage. Although the brakes in the Audi obviously not up to par with what I was experiencing, and he's off onto the grass and again there, and of course penalties are fairly, well, harsh might not be the right word, but there's certainly solid penalties at Interlagos. I'd quite like this track. It flows quite nicely for me, even with some slow corners, which usually are my nemesis, but I seem to be able to get around here okay. So my pace, compared to the fastest lap, my fastest lap's about, I don't know, 1 or 2 seconds slower, I guess, than Triple D at the front, and he is super quick. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. I did manage a 34.5 in practice on the mediums, which I found hard to replicate in the race, but that's pretty normal. That's how it goes. So I'm running a 2-stop strategy. I'm going 2 lots of mediums, and then I'm going to finish on the softs. A few of the other guys here are running a 3 soft strategy, but I found that if I stretch the softs right out to their end of life, I was fairly slow towards the end of the life of those tyres. So I decided I wasn't all that much slower on the mediums, and I could get them to last quite a lot longer. So I'm going to do 2 12-lap stints on the mediums and a 7-lap stint on the softs at the end, in the hope that some nice fresh softs with low fuel will give me an option to chase a few people at the end. So here's Yowie on lap 4 with an unlucky spin there. Another nice new livery on the car, mobile, on the black car, and that means I'm still in the hunt for a decent finish. So I pick up that spot when Yowie spins, and I'm now up to 11th, and a new driver to the league. First race, I believe, with the league. Combat Meow in front in the Ferrari. So always interested to see how the new drivers are going, what their pace is like, and whether they're in the right group in the league for us, or whether they've been misallocated. But in this case, Combat's pretty well on par with the rest of us. So just keeping the pressure on Combat Meow here, just to see if I can invoke a mistake, which might give me a chance to make a pass, or at least get nice and close so that I could pass at one of the spots around this circuit. There's a few where a good entry to the corner, in this one, T1 is one such spot where you can actually send the car and make a pass. It will be now interesting to see if the soft runners can get much more than 8 laps out of their tyres, or whether they will be in early for some tyres and some fuel. So my mediums are really going well. You'll see there in the bottom left hand corner I've got over half a tank of fuel, and the mediums are only just showing a little bit of wear at lap 7. So the softs would be probably a third worn by this stage if I was running them at lap 7 and looking after them. So I could probably get 10 or 11 laps out of the softs if I really was cautious, and I did do that in practice a few times, but as I said, it really made the lap times marginal towards the end of the stint. So Combat Meow makes the mistake I was waiting for, and he's off track there, which will also, I'm sure, end up in giving him a penalty. So I pick up that space, that place I should say, and I can't see a penalty against his name. He might have crossed the penalty line by now, it's but anyway, we're now in 10th, and as I thought, there's Geckos in for tyres and fuel. So the soft runners, as is Triple D as well. So are they going to go for a full tank, or are they going to leave? Let's see what they do. Yeah, looks like they only fueled enough fuel for the next stint and stayed on the softs. So they'll be coming through fairly quick in a minute. And when did they come out? They've come out behind me, and I'm now in 7th, but with some early stops right behind me. And here comes Triple D, as I said, quite fast. The RX Vision looks like it's going to be an interesting car this season. It's quite fast, and there's a few guys who've chosen to drive it. So there's no point in holding him up. I give him plenty of space. He's going to be way quicker than I am, and just try and tuck him behind and learn some tricks, get a bit of slipstream, and try not to lose too much time, because we will have Gecko not far behind him, I would expect, given they both pitted together at the same time. And we're now finishing lap 10, and my plan is to pit at lap 12, and yeah, there's the penalty for combat me out. So there was a penalty dished out in the end. One more lap on these tyres and we'll be in the pits. So you can see some others. Soft Runner did really well. So Dreamin got to the end of lap 11 on some softs. That is pretty impressive. So into the pits, and it's time for another set of mediums and some fuel. And I'm going to fully fuel the car. I'm going to fill it right up, and then I will be able to short fuel it or quickly fill it for my last stint, and have the lower fuel load on the softs. Combat Meow comes in behind me as well, also on mediums. Look, less fuel than I, 5 litres less fuel than I've got. So that Ferrari's been, I think the Ferrari has been quite thirsty by the looks of it. So back in 12th, after all the pit stops have run out and cycled through, and we're back to situation normal. Cam in front, Combat Meow behind. And here's another spin just up the road. That's what the yellow flag was about, and a bit of a dodgy rejoin there from GT, and you can see penalty, been off track somewhere, and now with the dirty tyres he's struggling with this car. Or perhaps he's run the softs too far, and I haven't had a look at his telemetry there, but again it's off the track, and then the penalty gets even bigger. Yeah, I do that all the time too when I'm off the track trying to get the Porsche straightened up, just doing a 360s in it. Crazy stuff. If I wanted to do a donut, I probably wouldn't be able to. And again, he struggles here. And luckily, Dreamin, he's just missed him. So that was pretty fortunate, because he is running up towards the front, I think, if you look at where they will come out after all pit stops. So really struggling here with this car, GT. GT is a brand new driver, just joined the league, I think the same day as this race, and this was his first go with us. We weren't really expecting him to be here, but everyone made him quite welcome, and he would have certainly learned a lot about how our league works. 0 assists right behind him here. Kaz, he's off to the left. Yeah, he must have no tyres left, I think. So 0 assists was running a long soft stint as well, and he's managed to make 13 laps on the softs. Look at that, and still got plenty of fuel. Well done, Nathan. Good driving. So yeah, we pass a couple in the pits again, but realise that we have to pit again too, so it will depend on who's on what cycle. I haven't really sat down and tried to work out what that strategy looks like. It'll be what it'll be. So here we are, lap 15 in P8, and everyone's settled in pretty much, I think, to a pattern at this stage. I've got Bob Dad's behind me. He's now in front of Cam. A little bit of change of position, but the three of us were pretty close together all night. So back into the 35s, mid 35s. Not setting any records here, even with pushing a bit wide there in the dirt. That was taking your life in your hands in the Porsche, getting that wheel out on the grass, but I managed to survive, so pretty good. And yeah, half a second down with these guys behind me pushing up pretty fast, so I'll be watching the mirrors but trying not to allow myself to be pressured into a mistake. Yeah, back into fast sectors again, on the track there, with the apex here, on the track there. Looks okay. Pretty happy with those lines, pretty happy with how I'm driving this lap. Down into here, you can really push hard into that corner, but the telemetry said to take it easy into the first turn and then allow yourself to be able to go wide for the second turn there. It was quite interesting to study the telemetry and see that going in slow could actually be faster ultimately. So up to finish at lap 16 now. Let's see what the time is, because I'm to be working this pretty hard to stay with this group or to give myself some flexibility. Yeah, drop 0.2 in the last sector, so didn't quite get that right. And now into lap 17. Marginal improvement in sector 1. Can I hang on to that for sector 2 with this pressure from behind? Will be the real issue. Bob's right there, and I decide the best answer is to let these two guys go in front of me, and then I won't be tempted to push too hard. I can just follow. And whilst that's probably not what some racers would do, it just seemed like the lower risk strategy to me on the night, and I did this a couple of times. You can see it's cost me quite a bit of time on this lap, but not as much time as if I'd run off track, got a penalty, or spun the car. So I'm pretty happy that I made the right decision here, and you can see the three of us on the map on the right, we're pretty much in our own race. So Truman's come out of the pits, he's just behind us with a brand new set of softs on, I guess, and well, at least a new set of tyres anyway, and he's ready to go to the end, so he'll be looking to get past me pretty quick, I would say. But I'm really working hard to try and not lose too much time to Cam here when these fast guys get through. So I am holding him up a little, but not enough to affect the overall outcome of the race, I don't think. And two Porsches, he's going to get past me here with a slipstream and a quicker exit from the final turn, so he'll pass me here, and then Gecko won't be too far back either. I don't think he'll be looking to get through before the mid part of the race, or mid part of the lap, I should say. So Willie's in. Willie's been on a medium stint, and he's got about 1 lap of fuel left, a bit over a lap of fuel left, so that was very well managed, Willie. And let's see if it tells us where he goes, what he does. You'd be surely going to softs with that few laps left, I would say. So yeah, it's still showing mediums, and he's fueling ready to go. So interesting. Yeah, Cam went in as well. No, he put softs on as I thought he would. Rusty's gone in as well. What's he put? Bob's in as well. So I'll be in on this lap as to do my final stop. Rusty puts some softs on and grabs some fuel. Plenty of fuel, I would have thought. I'm going to aim for 7.5 laps based on the calcs on the telemetry. Always like to over fuel just a little, then I don't have to worry. I have run out of fuel in one race, and that's probably why. Pit entry here is a little bit tricky with the chicane 2. You can get a penalty on the way in if you're over aggressive, but I managed that pretty well. The mediums are not quite half shot, so at least on the right I could have got quite a few laps out of those mediums in hindsight, but unfortunately the fuel, if you go for a fuel saving model here, and I had tried it, you lose too much time, so it's just better to do the 2 stops. On go a nice set of brand new softs ready for my last stint, and as I said, just enough fuel to give me a bit over 7 laps, or at least that was what the calculator was saying. I think I actually had probably a lap of fuel at the end, so a little bit over fuel, but yeah, not a big issue. So I come back out in 8th, and I've got Cam behind me and Bob in front of me. Surprise, surprise, who'd have thought. So this has panned out pretty well. So my aim now is to just drive as well as I can, get to my apexes, get my exits right, and try and hold on to 9th position. As I said at the start, I was aiming to finish where I started, so it would have been 7th, but the reality is you've got a couple of fast guys who haven't qualified well behind you, so that will always be a challenge. But having a challenge is what it's all about. It's how we all improve. So we come out, we're going to lose the combined loss on the way in and loss out. It's about 40 seconds. And my fuel saving model, where I, for a 1 stint, was actually costing me a lot more than that, because you really had to work hard to save enough fuel to only do a 1 stop. Not far to go now. Jump forward to lap 27. I have skipped a few laps here, guys, so that you're not totally bored by the same thing over and over again, but tried to keep enough of the action in where people were off the track or gained some advantage, or there were some pit stops so that you could see what strategy people were running. So coming down to the end of the 2nd sector, and we'll get a split time here. Oh, there's a yellow flag. Okay, what's going on? Bob Nads is up the road, and oh, what a shame. Well, that was a bit tricky on that corner. He gets the Audi out and going again, and that holds Cam up a little bit. I'm not sure if they touched there or not. It did have the appearance of it. Maybe, maybe not, but that's given me a little bit of breathing space to Cam now because of the hold up passing Bob. So I'm now running 8th, just one spot below where I really was aiming to be, and I've really got to have a long hard talk to myself at this stage to tell me not to make any mistakes and not to worry about the pressure behind. Eyes forward, and because in past league races, when early on in my career, this would be enough pressure to make not make me make a mistake, but to get my focus in places it shouldn't have been, and then which ultimately led to a mistake and off track. And you can see here on the limit there, right out almost on the AstroTurf, or actually probably were one wheel there, and I'm really starting to push a little hard here, and that may be reflected in the time. So let's see what the splits are going to give us. Look to be settled back here a bit, and it's only just outside my best sector time to there, so about half a tenth, not third of a tenth, not too bad. So I've got a bit of breathing space here still to cam, and we're on the final lap now. I've jumped to lap 31, and let's see how this pans out. Down through here, apex, exit, focus. Do not take your mind off the job at hand. I'm being a little conservative on this lap. You can see I'm down by 2/10. So let's jump forward and see how it goes. Triple D wins. Willie is coming up to the line now. Quite a gap to Willie, really. That's a fair gap there. And Willie's in second. Third across the line will be Dreamin, who had a great race. I love that livery, that Porsche Golden Gate Time. GGCAS through, then Pete, then Rusty, a bit further back. Gasper's pretty close to Rusty here. There wasn't a lot of gap there. And yep, I'm still in 8th, so not too bad. Started 7th, finished 8th, got into the 34s. Yep, not too bad for the first race of the season. Did a lot of practice. Got a lot of help in the off season with my driving from Nathan at GGCAS. Thanks Nathan for all your help getting me up to speed. So we ended up Cam in 9, Bob's in 10, and then I think we had Yowie, GT, and Kaz in 14th. So thanks for the racing, guys, and we'll see you on track. Bye for now.